Throughout his career, Steph Curry's seen some crazy defensive coverages. He's been face guarded, constantly denied, and double teamed at an insane rate. But late last season, the Grizzlies tried a new defensive game plan that can only be described as radical, even by Steph Curry standards. We're early in the first quarter here, and you can see Jalen Wells guarding Curry in what's called top lock, and all that means is the defender plays on the top side of the offensive player to stop him from using an off-ball screen and force them to take a different path. But unfortunately for the Grizzlies, there's an easy counter here, which is just a simple backdoor cut for a layup, and that backdoor is open because Edey's out here on the perimeter guarding a non-shooter in Draymond. If he had been back in the paint, they could have stopped that cut. So just a few possessions later, the Grizzlies have adjusted and they told Edey, hey man, you don't need to guard Draymond out there. So we see Edey sit way back in the paint, and this time it's Pippen playing on top of Steph, again denying him the ability to get a handoff or get free for a three. And again, Steph and Draymond try this backdoor, but Edey's there this time to take it away at the rim, but now it's a switch and Steph just drags the big man out to the perimeter. There's a little cut to clear it out, and now it's a step back and Steph Curry magic. But that tough start didn't deter Memphis from sticking to their game plan. Steph runs up the floor here and Wells stays glued to that top side, and the Warriors are trying to run a play to get Steph coming off this screen. Obviously with Wells playing him like this, he can't really use it, so instead he decides to screen for post and free him up for a look at three. That one ended up missing, but you can see how this game plan has already given up a bunch of good looks. Early third now, and Wells is still trying this crazy defense, and here the Warriors go to a set play. It starts with Steph setting a back screen, and again notice Edey deep in the paint protecting the rim and not guarding Draymond. But if you don't guard Draymond, that means Wells is all alone trying to deal with this screen, and that's another good look and a rare miss for Steph during the 50 ball. This clip's a little cut off, but we can see Wells is on the top side, and Draymond decides if you're going to guard him from behind like that, I'll just dribble in front of you. He hits him with a butt screen. Edey's at the rim, not even close to contesting, and that's a layup for Steph. That is insane by Draymond. The Warriors use Steph as a screener again here, this time screening for Jimmy, and Wells hedges out to Jimmy, but while he recovers to Steph, Jaren's stuck on that screen, which allows Jimmy to penetrate, so Edey has to leave Draymond to help. Now Jaren scrambles to Draymond, but he sags off of him, and if you sag off Draymond, he's just gonna free up Steph. He cans it off the handoff. Sideline out of bounds here, and we're right back at it. Edey giving Draymond space, Wells not allowing Steph to come back toward the ball, and the Warriors try the backdoor again, but this time Wells stays attached and gets the steal. Edey was in position too, so finally we see a win for Memphis. But just a minute later, the Warriors counter by having Draymond post up, and that post up makes Edey feel like he has to guard Draymond. He doesn't want to sag all the way back and let him drive to the rim, but that of course clears the paint, and with Scottie on top of Steph, now the back door is open again and it's a foul. And from that point on, Memphis kind of gave up with that strategy. You can see later on in the game a good example of Pippen in a much more normal defensive position, chasing Steph around a couple screens, and he gets that one to go anyways. So was it just the game plan that let Steph get 52, or was he also scoring in a bunch of other ways? To find out, I think we better watch every other made basket from Curry this game, because it was magical. Alright, here we go. Back to the first quarter, Steph grabs the board and shoots out of a cannon on the break. Wells is able to track him down, but Draymond sets the screen now, and Edey this far back is a problem. That's just not going to cut it against the best shooter of all time. This is a really tough matchup for Edey, as I'm sure you could already tell, and it's a really tough matchup really for all of Memphis's bigs, as we'll see. Wells picking up full court here, and as Steph crosses half court, Jimmy brings up Santi Aldama into the action, and Steph rejects the screen here. It's going to get Wells off of him and force that switch, so now Santi's trying to stick with him. Edey helps shut off that drive, but on the kick out, Aldama gambles for the steal and now loses Curry. That's a sin against Steph, and he is not going to miss that. So picking up full court is another game plan decision by the Grizzlies, and the Warriors counter it here with not one but two backcourt screens for Steph, and that gets Scottie kind of on his hip, just trailing a bit, and with Pippen's momentum trying to catch up, Steph can just plant that foot, step it back. That's more than enough separation, but man, is that nasty. Not quite full court here, but still a really high pickup point, and we'll see this high screen trying to involve a Memphis big in the action. Obviously that's a theme, and both guys end up on Steph, so Santos is wide open on the pop. But notice how that high screen left Pippen on Steph's side rather than in front, and now Steph just darts to the rim for rebounding position. He's able to get it, he grabs the board and just puts in an easy one there. Moody brings up Aldama again here, and the idea for Memphis on this seems to be for Santi to hedge out to Steph and then recover back to Moody. But when Moody cuts right after his screen, Pippen doesn't want to leave him. He wants to switch it, but now no one's on Steph because of that miscommunication, and he pulls a deep one. Now, Looney's screen actually brought Jaren up, and this is a decent contest against some players, but against Steph, it's probably too far back again. It's a crazy shot, but miscommunication here by Memphis is really what led to it. Another rebound by Steph here, and Pippen pokes at the ball and misses, so now he's trailing a step behind. Edey's gonna try to help out, but Steph crosses middle and he puts this one up and in over the 7'4" monster. It all really started though on this missed poke by Scotty, giving Curry the step, so just a small mistake can cost you. Starts on defense here with Draymond poking it away from Bane, and immediately the Warriors have numbers. 4 Warriors to 3 Grizzlies. That's a really nice pass by Draymond, and Jimmy kicks this out, and Wells thinks he has it, but he doesn't, and that is not gonna miss either. Transition here, and Wells wants to take Curry, but he can't quite get to him in time, kind of gets picked off by Post, so Jaw's gonna have to take him, but he goes for a steal, and look where Steph is spotting up from, but that's why you gotta pick him up earlier. He's just gonna punish every little mistake. This one starts in Bane's hands, and his drive draws some help, so Steph is gonna have to zone up these 2 shooters. He's gonna end up with a nice steal, and here comes trouble. He looks to pull up, Pippen jumps, I don't think you can blame him, and now Scotty turns around to still get a decent contest, and I don't know, I don't think that's fair. Steph grabs another board here to start the break. Morant is going to pick him up, and Draymond immediately comes to screen for him. This time, Jaren is high enough up to discourage the shot, but that Draymond screen leaves Ja chasing behind, and Steph is just not going to stop moving, relocates to the corner, and Jimmy picks off Ja. That is absolutely beautiful basketball. So that was all 16 of Steph Curry's made field goals on the night. We can see that game plan from the Grizzlies definitely did not go as planned, and the Warriors were able to take advantage of that, as well as frequently hunting the Memphis bigs with Steph, and of course some incredible shot making is always needed to get to 52. But let me know what you thought of this game plan by Memphis and this performance by Curry. As always, any likes or comments are hugely appreciated, and I'll see you in the next one.